Good morning, my friends. It is Monday, November 11th, 2024, and this is the Daily Brief. Now, I never want to sound hyperbolic and say, it's finished, the war can only last another week, or Russia's economy is collapsing tomorrow, or anything like that. And yet, I have to tell you, yesterday was the highest rate of casualties for Russia day over day at any time since the war began. 1,770 Russian casualties just in one day. It's just amazing. 4 tanks, 40 armored fighting vehicles, 34 artillery systems, 119 vehicles and fuel tanks. Okay, so to prove my point, to go back and show you that this is actually what's happening, I'm going back to 2 weeks ago when I said, hey, this is, I think, the highest daily all-time record for casualties, which was just 2 weeks ago. Okay, let's listen to what we're saying. Now, I want to correct myself because yesterday I said this was the highest daily casualties. That was 1710, and this is the video from yesterday. I was going through this, and then somebody corrected me. Tramflug said 1,700 casualties is the second highest number. The highest one was 1,740 on May 13th this year. Okay, I know it's weird seeing me and then me and then me. So I know that's a strange thing, but 1740 was the highest before this. I talked about 1710, which is the second highest just 2 weeks ago. It's now 1770, and wow. Okay, so that's where we are. Here are Andrew Perpetua's losses, the losses he could identify for the 6th, the 9th, and the 10th. He was just cleaning up some things. But if we look at these, look at this. It's a little less than 1-to-1, and then a little less than 2-to-1. And yeah, so, but what's interesting about this is 95, when he has the skulls, it didn't work out so well for them. You can kind of read into what that means. The 9th, 108. The 10th, 237. That means 7,368 in the past 81 days that he could count from his video footage of a vehicle being hit or a tank or whatever else, right? That's what he does, and God bless him for doing that work. That's some rough work. He said he was using Sunday to catch up on past work, and then Sunday turned into the most video clips they ever had, 861 clips total. Ugh. But I just finished. So yeah, so the story here is that this means that it's just really building in a significant way. The pressure, this is like a pressure cooker. Now, it doesn't have to be that way because everybody knows that Trump wants to sit down with both sides and have a deal. So why would they be pushing like they are? Well, they're pushing like they are because they want to have the best position before they get to the deal. Russia is suffering increased losses in an attempt to strengthen its negotiating position. I think that's right. Look at Russia's daily losses in this chart. Okay, early in the war, you're like at 200, 300, something like that per day of Russian losses. And it just escalated and escalated again and again. Okay, 700, I'm trying to remember what the number was. It was 710 average losses per day throughout the war. 1,271 was the average losses in September. 1,500 was the average losses in October. Just to give you a sense of just where we've been. Okay, now average losses per kilometer square, per a single kilometer square, has just risen exponentially as well. In fact, what they did with this chart was fascinating. Losses related to the fighting territory in some wars. If you look at how many losses, 0.7 in World War II. And where are we with this? This is the Russia's war here. Korean War is like the only one that even comes close. The Korean War was like everything else. This is second only to the Korean War in most losses for the least real estate. Like that's something significant. Okay, so let's shift gears now and start talking about other topics here. 39 out of 74 drones were knocked down, and then another 30 UAVs were locationally lost. But it doesn't mean that Russia didn't do damage. They did shoot down the missiles as well, but there were also guided bombs and other things. Russia launched guided bombs and ballistic missiles early this morning into residential areas in Zaporizhia and Mykolaiv, resulting in combined 44 casualties. Kryvyi, an ordinary five-story apartment building, says Zelensky. The first to fifth floors of one stairwell was destroyed. 7 people have been reported injured, including 2 children. Russia only wants to continue the war, and each of its strikes negates any claims of diplomacy from Russia. Well, kind of. They don't want to just settle. They want to improve their position before they settle and drive down Ukrainian morale as much as possible with these Russian bombs. Ukraine needs weapons to defend itself. Security camera footage from Russia's Belgorod found that one of their own Shahed drones didn't make it to Ukraine. This is the same building. Like, this is the building before and this is the building after, and it didn't work out quite the way that they were expecting. After reports of air targets in the area, explosions are reported in this is Ukraine attacking Russia's Saratov region in the area of Engels Military Airport. We're not sure exactly what happened. I watched some video where you could hear the alarms. We see a little, what looks like smoke off in the distance, but we'll find out more tomorrow. At least 8 Russian Tu-95 strategic bombers launched cruise missiles, and several MiG-31 bombers launched Kinzhal air ballistic missiles at Ukraine. This is Putin's answer to Trump's de-escalation call. So, theoretically, according to the Washington Post on Thursday, Trump called Putin and, according to the article, told him don't escalate in the war, among other things, and that they're going to want to negotiate and work out something, and that this was after the call to Zelensky. It doesn't look like Putin's listening to that message. Okay, Russia is massing tens of thousands of troops in Kursk, where it's attempting to regain control of the territory lost to Ukrainian forces. It's not working out so well. Russia claims to have started street battles in Kurakhove, threatening a key Ukrainian military supply route and one of Donetsk Oblast's primary power generation facilities. Kurakhove also serves as a gateway to the strategic city of Kyiv. And there are only so many roads that can get there, like paved roads that can get where they're trying to go. That's why this is important. Okay, Ukrainian Special Services torch another Russian aircraft in Moscow region. This might have been the headline if it wasn't for the severe number of losses that I had to go over and explain just the enormity of those losses. Meanwhile, Joseph Borrell, who is visiting Kyiv, spent the morning in a shelter. Like, that's the reality of where they are on the ground in Ukraine at this time. Now, POWs, when they're captured, are just supposed to be held as POWs and then exchanged for other POWs and that sort of thing. But Russia doesn't play by those rules exactly. Russia installed court in Donetsk People's Republic, operating outside international law, sentenced 8 defenders of the strategic city of Mariupol to prison terms ranging from 15 to 17 years. We'll see how that plays out on the other side of the war. 2008, Russia will stop at Georgia. We just need to negotiate. 2014, Russia will stop at Crimea. We just need to negotiate. 2015, Russia will stop at Syria. We just need to negotiate. 2022, Russia will stop at Ukraine. We just need to negotiate. Well, it's 2024. Let's see what we're going to do. If we're hearing the same message and they keep doing the same thing, odds are they're going to keep doing the same thing. Today is the second anniversary of the liberation of Kherson on November 11th, 2022. The armed forces entered the city. February 24th, 2022, Russian occupation troops entered Kherson and they were occupied for 8 months. And what did Kherson look like after the deoccupation? Darth Putin tells us, on this day in 2022, crowds of Ukrainians who voted 99% to join Russia, remember, they all voted to join Russia, were terrified that the people who'd been shelling them and committing genocide for 8 years pushed their glorious Russian liberators out of their territory. I remain a master strategist. No, they're hugging the Ukrainian defenders who came in and liberated the city. They're overjoyed about this. There's a reason for that. Now, if you want to see what actually happened 2 years ago, I'll repost this video here. It actually got 128 views, which I thought was, wow, 128 people were willing to watch this in the early days. This is 2 years ago today. All right, my friends. I only have one last message, and thank you to all veterans. It is Veterans Day. Yesterday was Remembrance Day in Britain. I'm not sure how equivalent that is. Maybe it's more equivalent to Memorial Day, but thank you to all those who served, because Bad people do bad things in the world and they have to be stopped. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.